Some people say, can you describe a little bit about what one can expect when we meditate? We can expect several things. We can expect that meditation is doing nothing to us, most common experience. We can expect that we can think of a lot of things which we were not thinking about when we were not meditating. Like we can remember where we lost our keys, where we placed the telephone. And very often we can go to sleep. They say meditation is a better sleeping pill than the pill you buy in the pharmacy. There's a reason for that. The reason is that we are awake in the physical body because our attention is operating from behind the eyes. When we are awake, we are behind the eyes. If we are just a notional point of life, supposing we are just a point of life which moves in the body, then that point of life that makes us aware is behind the eyes. We open our eyes, we can see. If we are not behind the eyes, if we open our eyes, we won't see. And that happens. It happens to us. It happens every night when we go to sleep. When we go to sleep, you can have some of your eyes open. Not completely, halfway. Most people don't completely close their eyes when they sleep. A little bit is open. And what is happening in front becomes part of your dream sequence. Supposing you are sleeping and somebody passes in front of you, in the dream, that person or somebody like that person will also move. So you're connecting what you are seeing and what you are dreaming, but you are not seeing what is passing in front of you, you are seeing the dream. Why is that? Because that notional point of life is not behind the eyes, but has gone down to the throat. Supposing you were a very masterful yogi and had done yogic practices by which you could remain semi-alert when you are sleeping and dreaming, and you want to touch your eyes when you're dreaming. With your hands, you will touch your throat and you will think you're touching your eyes, which shows that the notional point of your consciousness does not remain always there. It moves down when you go to sleep. It moves down to this throat when you're dreaming. It moves further down, a little bit further down, when you are feeling you are not dreaming at all, or in the gaps between the dreams and the sleep state. So this movement also is being used by the yogis to bring the attention by concentrating on the lower chakras. The 6 chakra yogic practices are all based upon moving your point of attention down there, having different experiences from there. And they relate to a created body, which is not this body. Dream body is a created body. When you make a body from heart chakra or lower chakras, kundalini, reversal chakras, when you do those things, the point of your conscious awareness, where you are operating from, shifts in the physical body. So that is why the tendency to sleep is very strong, because we are doing meditation every night when we go to sleep by becoming unaware of our body and becoming aware of something else. So that is why the practice of vacating your body is a constant practice everybody is doing. That's why tendency to go down is very strong and we go to sleep. Very strong tendency. I remember great master's master. Great master Baba Sawant Singh, his master was Baba Jaimal Singh. And Baba Jaimal Singh used to tell his disciples, be very careful. If you meditate, you'll go to sleep. In fact, in the little place in his small hut in Gurdaspur district in Punjab, India, where he used to meditate a lot, he had made a hook on top of the ceiling and he had tied his hair with a little rope. So when he would sleep, it would pull down. I'm talking of a perfect living master. So the tendency to sleep is very strong. I was once conducting a meeting in Bruce, Wisconsin, many years ago. And I was telling people to meditate and close your eyes, do this. After a while, I could hear my own snoring. So I said, did I really snore? I opened my eyes, everybody was staring at me. But I turned it around to say, I'm giving you an example of how I sleep. I just made a good excuse, not a very good excuse. So this is, I am telling you what to expect. For a long time, this thing can go on. People sometimes get disappointed. They get disappointed that nothing is happening in meditation. It's all dark. What can we do? So actually, the experiences start much later. You can induce some experiences by lot of long meditation. I once thought meditation is the only cure for our ignorance, and I was very young. Actually, I was a college student. I meditated so much, 8 hours at a stretch. Now I don't recommend to anybody to do 8 hours. I got nothing by 8 hours. So I found that it is not the time spent on meditation. It is the intensity of longing you have for the beloved that makes a difference. It's a very different thing. The actual experience of spiritual experiences takes place when you are longing for the beloved, longing for your master, longing for God in human form. It's so strong that that's all you want. And that pulls your attention rapidly from the body and takes you to the image of the master, and then you find who master is. Now that comes after a lot of practice. It comes when you are using all possible means of expressing your love and devotion for the master. Meditation without love and devotion is very hollow. I have shared with you before the story of my friend Hira Singh from Ludhiana in Punjab. He was initiated by Great Master. About the same time I was initiated. And he meditated very regularly. Not like me, sometimes a lot of meditation, like no meditation, questioning everything. I was different. He was very dedicated satsangi. So he followed the rules. And he meditated 2.5 hours every day. Maintained a very strict vegetarian diet according to the instructions given to him. And it is after 40 years of our initiation that I met him. I met him because he had a little factory in Ludhiana, in the town where we lived, where I also got educated for a while and worked for a while. So he did his good meditation regularly, but for 40 years he had no experience inside. He said, I must be very unlucky, my karma must be very heavy, that I can't see anything. Maybe I'm not designed to have anything. Maybe my system is not working. Maybe I'm going to wait for next 4 lives. Whatever he had heard from people thinking like that. There was another master who came to his house for giving satsang because he had a big house and a big lawn in front, and he could accommodate a lot of people there. Great Master also visited his house. The other masters, some of different lineages, also visited his house. He was a very good satsangi. So once there was a master visiting him, and I took one of my American friends with me. He happens to be here somewhere, yes. He will vouch that I'm telling a very true story. The master was giving a discourse, and we both were standing at the back wanting to see the master and see Hira Singh, my friend. So master saw us and he beckoned to us to come near. So we went close to him and I said to him, please finish your satsang, your discourse that you are giving, and we'd like to spend a few moments. I brought a friend of mine from USA. Master said, satsang finished, let's go. which was very impressive for my friend. to see the closeness. We went inside. And we had a nice time with the master. And then people began to ask me some things. How is America? How are you doing? How is great master's prophecy that that the actual spiritual seeking will shift from the east to the west and go in a big way to the United States? He said those things. People were asking me questions. Some asked questions about my meditation also. Some people asked questions about on spiritual path, which is normal. People just ask these things. After this, Hira Singh came to me and he said, I have to ask you a question. I said, what is your question? He says, I have meditated strictly according to the instructions given to me at initiation. 2.5 hours by the clock every day for 40 years. Seen nothing. Inside, felt nothing. And yet I have kept up saying, no, master has told me do it, I am doing it. It's almost become like a duty and getting no result of it. On the other hand, he said, you seem to have got something. I said, how can you feel I may be like you too? He said, no, if you didn't have anything, you couldn't give the answer to questions like that. That is why I'm asking this question. I said, let me tell you a secret. The secret is, I know nothing. I saw nothing like you, I'm just like you. But when somebody asks me a question, I talk to Great Master inside my head and say, Master, this person is asking this question. What is the answer? Master, tell the answer. I speak out, people think I am giving the answer. It's not my answer. It's Great Master's answer. He said, all right, ask the Great Master that you initiated Hira Singh and he is following your instructions. For 40 years he has got nothing. I said, when Great Master came to your house, why didn't you ask him? He said, I did. What did he say? He said, he smiled and said, continue your meditation with love and devotion. I said, then so many masters have come into your house. Didn't you check with them? Instead of checking with a guy who is not a master? He said, I checked with the masters. What did they say? They smiled and said, continue your meditation with love and devotion. I am going on doing it. Now I am asking you. I said, I told you the secret. I'll have to refer your question to my master. And when he gives the answer, I'll give it to you. He's all right, go sit inside and talk to your master and give me the answer. I said, Master is not so easily accessible. It takes time to make an appointment and to get an answer. He said, how long does it take? I said, about 6 months. Because I was to come back to America and go back next time after 6 months. He said, all right, I'll wait. So I went back to from United States to India after 6 months, went to Ludhiana, met Hira Singh. I said, got the answer for you. What is the answer? I said, Great Master said, tell Hira Singh, continue to do your meditation with love and devotion. The very answer all the masters gave, the very answer the Great Master gave first time that you asked. He said, then why have I not made any progress? I said, you missed out the last few words of the answer. You thought he's saying, continue your meditation. You did not notice every one of them said, continue your meditation with love and devotion. Secret. Meditation without love and devotion is hollow. It's a mechanical exercise on the body, it does nothing. In fact, it increases your ego. I am doing 2.5 hours. I am doing so much meditation. The I becomes strong, becomes a bigger obstacle in spiritual path. That is why never forget the secret is love and devotion. We start with repetition of words. We call Simran, mantra, repetition. Very good to control the mind to some extent. Not too much, but some extent. If sound comes inside, we say, hear the sound, we hear the sound. All mechanical things. Not spiritual. What is spiritual about repeating words, physical words? What's spiritual about hearing sounds? not spiritual at all. It's all physical, mental. Then the master appears, and we are not sure if he is the master. Maybe the mind is making it up. The image comes, disappears, comes and goes away, and we don't know whether to accept it or not. If we are initiated by a perfect master, he gives us a device to check if the mind is making up his image or he is really there. The device is very simple. That the words he asks us to repeat during meditation, he empowers them so that a negative entity, including the mind, cannot make up his image, cannot make up his eyes and his forehead. The rest of the face can be made up by the mind, but not the eyes and the forehead of a master. It's a good device. It's just, again, a mechanical device so that we can check if the master is there. When the master comes and goes, we have heard radiant form of master will come. I'm waiting for the radiant form of the master. The master is appearing. He's not radiant enough. So we don't talk to him. We're waiting for a radiant master. We have our own impression what a radiant master means. We think radiant means there's light flowing out of him. And some pictures I've seen people drawing. The light flowing out of master, coming right toward you. That's only in paintings and pictures. He is exactly like he's outside. He appears inside. Why we call him radiant form of master is he can be seen in utter darkness. You can close your eyes, cover them up, double cover them up. You can still see him clearly. That's the radiance part. But you are also radiant at that time. Objects are also radiant at that time. We meditate, we can see so many things. So the radiant only means that he is visible in darkness. When he is stabilized, then we have a good conversation with him, in and out. Then, what should we do after that? Nothing. It's his job now. He promised, come to me up to that point where you can see me. After that is my job. Your meditation is over. But we still keep on meditating. Not only that, I used to see great masters giving a discourse, and his favorite sangis, his disciples, sitting in front, are closing their eyes. Who are they trying to see? He's sitting in front of you, and you close your eyes. Don't you see what you're trying to see sitting in front? Just because he's in physical form, he's not less of a master than he will be inside. So we do not realize the spiritual path is a relationship with somebody whom you have created and who comes with all the precautions we can take, is not made up by a negative entity, and all you have to do is to follow him. But then people, some are clever, they realize what I'm telling you. Because they have heard the same thing I am just sharing with you. So they forget, they talk to Master every day. They talk, exchange, have jokes, fly with the Master, spend their time with the Master as much as possible. When they do that, even when they are not meditating, they can feel Master with them. And sometimes he manifests even externally, and they can see him outside also. It's a beautiful experience. When that happens, Master takes them according to the plan already set up. Depending upon the karma with which you are born, the stage at which you are, he takes you gradually from stage to stage. Great experience. He shows you how vast the area of creation is. He shows you the physical creation. You can see, travel in the physical world and see. He shows you the astral, physico-astral overlap where you see this world and the next world also, where you see people who have died. Many are still there, and you can see them. He takes you and shows you all those things. He takes you to the upper part of the astral plane, which is beyond the overlap, no physical. It's a totally different kind of world there. And you see, this physical world is divided, most divided place in the whole of creation. It's divided into countries, states, and it is administered, run. The system on this physical plane are run by governments, run by different governments in small portions, which we call countries and nations. Astral plane is not run like that. It's run by one government. That's a very big difference. It is vaster than this physical plane, yet it's only ruled by one. And there you find that the master can even show you the ruler of that astral plane. That's in the higher part of the astral plane. When you see that, most amazing experience takes place when the ruler of the whole astral plane comes and puts his head on your master's feet as you are watching him. You can't believe what's happening. Because he's a king of that place. He's a ruler. He decrees how the whole astral plane has to run. And yet, he's feeling so happy to see the master. So you get surprised. First time it happens, you get very surprised. That what is happening? And the master explains to you, look, these people know because they have stayed here for a long time. They know this is not their home. They are also souls like us. This ruler of the whole universe, he is the creator of the physical plane and the astral plane sitting here. And he does not have the chance to have the trip which you and I are making. This is karma. He is here at a high level because of his karma in a human body. Karma committed in the human body brought him to this place. He can't go anywhere from here except he'll have to go back. He's willing to go back to a human life to go further up, although he's already further up. Very strange experiences. So, some experiences in the beginning are different for different people. But above that, when the master takes you, the experience is very similar. Some skip the experience. Some don't want to see all this. And the master skips that. Some say, we are not interested in anything mental, any of these worlds, astral, physical. We don't want to see anything. We just want to go to a true home. The master can go with blinders of those people, those souls, and take them back. It's a long story. I could keep on sitting and telling you the entire journey. It's so remarkable. You can expect that. But the beginning will be like I indicated in the beginning. And that is how we start experiencing. Needs a lot of patience. Needs a lot of patience. But the earlier you start your meditation with love and devotion, the better it is. Otherwise, it will be like Hira Singh. Otherwise, you will say, I've meditated so long, nothing is happening. I went back after 6 months more to Hira Singh. He made more progress internally and externally in those 6 months than he had made in 40 years. So that's the difference in that.